Alright, so in the previous video, we did a little walkthrough as far as how to read the database, or how this particular code works. So now I'm going to actually create a PHP file that's going to do the read. We're going to set it up. We're going to take it from this code. I'll modify everything except, of course, all the uniquely identifying information, username, password. You guys know what that is. And then I'll pause the video, we'll run it, and I'll show you the breakdown. Okay, so I'm already logged into the server that I'm going to use to execute it. Remember, your server does have to have PHP or PHP installed. Since PHP is a server-side language, it has to be scripted there. So I'm going to go ahead and go to our HTML directory. If I can type it right. That's right, and I'm not typing the commands right, so let's do that right, and maybe we'll get to where we need to be. Alright, so I'm just going to put it in here somewhere. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to make a file in here, and I'm going to go sudo, since I'm not an administrator over this, or I'm not the owner of this directory. So we'll sudo, and let's see what we should call this file. We'll call it dbread.php. Alright, .php, because we are executing a PHP file. And man, I don't know what it is. I am messing up all my commands today. We're going to sudo, we're going to nano, because nano is the program we're going to use. And then I will enter that. Okay, so I'm just going to copy and paste this text, and then we're going to start modifying it. Okay, and I'll show you how to modify it to work for your command. Okay, so you will, of course, have to fix this. You need to correct all that information. Your connection information is good. This is good because that's all covered by your variables. Okay, here's the first thing we need to correct. We need to correct our SQL command. Alright, so what we're looking at is working with this table called Smith. Okay, and these are the rows, or sorry, these are the columns. And these are the rows, all the data. So I have 10 records in there, all with this information. So let's read it. So I'm going to modify some things here. First off, I'm going to select everything. I want all information. Okay. So I want to pull everything from the database, meaning all columns, rec 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. From, what's the table name? Table name is Smith. So I'm going to type that in, Smith. So we're going to pull star, which is everything, from Smith, and we're not going to give it any criteria. We're not going to say where something equals something. We're pulling the whole database. Okay. So now I'm going to scroll down and look at this output. So this is fine. Result is fine. This if statement is good. This brackets are good. The only thing next we need to correct is how we're going to echo it out. Okay, so we know it's going to find the information because we're not giving any criteria. We're just saying pull everything from Smith. So we're going to get 10 records. That's a given. Okay, so we need to tell it how to display each record as it cycles through them one by one. Okay, so first off, I've just got them labeled REC 1, 2, 3, 4 through 9. Okay. So I'm going to just put REC, and now I have to change this to the column heading or the column name. So row REC. So whatever's in that first record that comes back, we're going to just put in some text that says REC colon, and then it's going to be followed right after by the variable that sits in that first place. So row record. So it should show up REC colon, and then there should be a space, and then you should just see the number 1, because that's what's going to fall in this variable. The first row in that column record. First row in the column record. That's going to be a 1. Okay? And then I'm going to show you one more, and then I'm going to pause the video and complete out the rest of the command, because otherwise you're just watching me type after you've got it figured out. So next one, because we got to do it column by column. So we got to do record, we got to do 1, we got to do 2, 3, 4. We got to tell it how to handle every variable for every column. The good thing is you only have to do that once. But since I picked this table, it has a lot of information in it. Okay, so the next one is just called 1. I'm just going to use a number just to keep it simple. So 1 colon, let's be consistent. I'll call it 1 like I've called it here. It's not required that you call it that, but I'm just giving it a label so that you can know what this variable is going to be referring to. So then first name, I'm going to get rid of that. And as soon as I change this, now this is showing me what's in that column for that row. That's what that variable is going to contain. All of this is a variable, okay, and it's going to be replaced by this value right here, that number 1, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, complete out this command, we'll run it, and we'll see what we get. Okay, so I've completed writing out the command, and basically what it consisted of is me adding information. Because before it was only pulling 3 variables out of the database, and now I'm pulling 10 if you include the record. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is an HTML just telling it to echo this text again without the quotation marks because it needs to interpret PHP. So this is a variable. This is text. This is a variable. Text variable. Text variable. So on and so forth. And I'm changing the 1 to REC to 2 to 3 to 4 to represent the different columns that I have here. REC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to 9 because we have to pull that. Okay, so if everything was entered correctly here, what this should do is just echo a series of lines on an HTML web page and plug in these variables right here so that we can actually see what's in there. So I'm going to go here. We're going to pull up the web page at .60/dbread.php, and there we have it. So these are the records that it pulled out of the database. There are 10, 1 through 10, and it lays out exactly in the order that we put it for. So again, I want to make sure that you understand the while loop. We only had to enter how we want it to display once because it does this for every record that it finds. So if I was to like edit this first thing to say record completely instead of REC, I want you to notice that it'll do that for every line that you see in the HTML. So when I refresh this, instead of saying REC here, it'll say record all the way down, but we only had to type it once, okay? Again, that's what the while loop does. So we change it. We're really only, what we're doing when we type this portion right here is we are setting up how we want this to look, okay? So outside of that, the biggest thing that you need to understand is how to manage the data that you get out of the database. Here I was doing something very simple with it. I'm just simply displaying it right here in an echo command to be seen, okay? There's my echo command. Here are my variables. I could take out all this text and that would be just fine. It would just be a bunch of numbers, alright, without much meaning, or you wouldn't necessarily understand what row they are for. But the reason the text is added is so that you know, okay, that first number 1 that you see is the record number, the second one is what was in column 1, so on and so forth. So it's possible to take these and put these in arrays, assign these to other variables to do something with later. So just keep in mind, this is an easy way of how to read a database, obtain data, and then beyond this point you get to decide what to do with it. Alright, I hope this video helps, and good luck.